there's some things that everybody wants to talk about that, you know what, I had a whole show, I had a whole 2-hour episode trying to explain to people how we got here. And then I just said to myself, it kind of makes no sense, because nobody in this world is trying to make sense anymore. People just want to destroy and be revengeful. So it kind of makes no sense to try to be for the side of peace for everybody, and understand and just say, listen, there are innocent children who, if nobody breaks the cycle of hatred, they will lose their friends, their parents, their mothers, and they will grow up hating, and then the cycle will continue. And the way the whole world is, it's just been divided into the people who want to be victim in that soul, and the people that people want to call evil in that soul. And in reality, nobody is just one thing. The same people who are victims are also culprits of inhumane behavior, and they use the victimization as an excuse. And the people who are victims from the other side are also using this as an excuse to commit horrible things. And all you can do is cease fire, but it's hard right now because everybody's emotional. So, and it's interesting how everybody is supposed to take a position today in this world. We in the world now, when you cannot say I don't give a fuck, everybody has to have an opinion, and everybody must choose the right side. It's not like choose a side, it's choose the right one. Because if somebody asks you, hey, what is your opinion, and you say my opinion is this, but they wanted you to say this for every subject, is the same thing for every subject now. Boom, they will just resume in, so you support terrorists. You're like, so you're transphobic. And I guess the good art of diplomacy and dialogue has died in this social media world where it's just emotional people. And I believe it's a whole generation of emotive people that I don't know how they're gonna grow old, but life will show most people. So it's so interesting where we had the same thing when the Ukraine Russia conflict started, where the same people like the same media that were saying, hey, there's some sketchy thing happening now out there. There's a lot of right-wing extremists. The government is corrupted, etc., etc. All of a sudden, it was like, hey, you stand with them, or you stand with evil. And it's sadly, it's a way. And listen, maybe the people who stand with, who just want everybody to live peacefully, free, have two countries that are not on fire. Like, these people, whenever they say that, right now, people want them to just say, hey, I condemn this was, and it seems like you cannot even say, of course we do, if everybody condemns this. Whatever crime that is conducted from any side, But nobody wants to hear that. People want to hear you say, we condemn these people for the things they did because they're horrible. And I do. I condemn that it's horrible. But then anybody who wants to say, okay, but how did we get here? And if you have extreme parts on both countries, people who want to just get rid of other people because they don't consider them human, and it's not everybody, it's the extreme ones. And on the other side, you have people, they just want to live in peace, but they have an extreme people on their side too that want to get rid of those ones too. In reality, what you have to get rid of is both extremes and be able to live peacefully. But the more you go in, the more it's complicated, the more it's impossible to do. People have been trying forever, and in a certain way, some people, you have to always ask yourself a question whenever something happens, right? Not if something happens, even if whoever benefits from what happens might not be responsible for the event, right? But still, I was in Disneyland with my wife and daughter, and the weather was okay. It was good. It was a good weather. And all of a sudden it started raining, and everybody ran on the sides of all the shops, and all the people from the shops, they went in their stock and they came out with some plastic coats that probably, from the quality, you could see it cost 50 cents to make, but they sold everyone 15 euros. And you have families of 5 people, 10 people. You had groups of 100 people all buying. So 100 times 15. So did the people who have those jackets ready to sell, they probably bought 1,000 at 50 cents each, and they probably sold that 1,000 on that same day for 15,000. Did they create the rain? No. Did they benefit from the situation? Yes. So my question here is, when shit happens, what I always ask myself is, who benefits from this? Who, can now, on both sides, act more violently or more extremely and even stay in power? That's the way I am. I cannot help myself but asking myself those questions. Still, listen, all the innocents that didn't ask for nothing, that are not politicians, that were just born in the wrong place, listen, I pray for them. To me, that's all I can say. And I condemn violence and barbaric acts, but it doesn't mean that the acts of a group of people represents a whole country. And this works for all sides. When I went to Ukraine in 2018, I met some amazing people. I met some Russian people that had Ukrainian girlfriends that lived in Ukraine, and everybody was like brothers and sisters. And I was in Kharkiv. We're not far from actually the front, the part that was trying to do secession. And listen, I met great people. And at the same time, I knew there was a lot of evil activity around there. But the people who were dancing kizomba were not responsible for all that, for the politics, the movement of power, the influence of external power, etc. But when the war exploded, it was just people telling us, these are the good people, these are the bad people, and you have to be with the good people. You don't really have a choice, actually. And it's interesting because I posted something that actually had nothing to do with the situation right now. I was just posting something that a Malcolm X quote that says, the media will make you believe that the oppressor is the victim, and then the victim is the oppressor. So you have to be careful. That I just saw that. I always love these quotes. It's a quote from the 60s. And I posted it. And I have a friend of mine, very, very, very good friend that I love very much, who's from Israel, who sent me a message directly, say, what are you talking about? I was like, bro, chill. Chill. I hope you're all right. I hope your family is all right. And listen, I pray for you. And he was like, thank you, my brother. But you see, when we had the terrorist attack in France, and we were all traumatized, then you had this slogan that happened, which was, I am Charlie. And it was because the people from that journal were brutally murdered. And the new slogan was, are you Charlie? And so it was like, everybody was like, I am Charlie. Everybody was posting, I am Charlie. And one kid said, I disagree with the murder, but I'm not Charlie. And he got removed from school directly, because the question was not, are you Charlie? The question was, are you Charlie? Answer yes. And if you don't answer yes, you are a terrorist apologist. And some people were saying, listen, we understand in this country, you don't respect nothing, you don't respect religion because it's a light country, etc. But for us, the prophet is off limits. And these guys were abusing. Did they deserve to die? No. But am I Charlie? No. That's what some people were saying. That was their logic. And we are in a world right now where people don't care about your logic. People, they just want you to say, to all go in a direction. And with the internet, it's interesting where we in a world where there's so many people who can now have so many opinions online, that it seems like the people who want everybody to only have one opinion, they just are becoming less and less democratic. And the good and the bad is a good way to prevent the conversation to happen. And listen, I want to say it straight right now. I don't believe that the victims planned what happened. Even if it's kind of strange that with all the signals and the Secret Service and everything, it's kind of strange that it could happen. But listen, failure happens, okay? With that said, the conversation last week, listen, 10 days ago, the conversation was going more and more in one direction. The conversation was, this country is becoming an apartheid state because they are taking hostage 2 million people, and they are colonizing, and they are not treating the people who were there in this land before they came. I know the story is very long, and they were there thousands of years ago, but they are so the Indians and etc. So listen, 100 years ago, some people were there. Then some people arrived, and they came back to the chosen land, and then the people who were there for a few hundred years were like, yo, that's my house. And we were like, we're gonna settle here. And that's how the whole shit started. Thank you, UK. Thank you, France. And then because they kind of took the monopoly of victimhood, it seems when you talk to in Occidental media, they are like the ultimate victims. Other people were victims of genocides as well, but it's not the same. And it was kind of a good reason to be there. But then, as time went on and they started expanding their territory, the voices lately were, what you're doing is like the voices were starting to shift. Every documentary, everything I was seeing these last few days were like, people were starting to be like, yo, listen, we understand that you were victims 60 years ago, 80 years ago, but now, right now, what you're doing, people are starting to be like, and even voices inside of their country were saying, yo, what we are doing is called apartheid. We cannot treat some people away and others have no vote, no, etc., etc. And listen, it reminds me of Zimbabwe when it was still called Rhodesia. The same road who gave the name to Rhodesia was the one who did the deal to install these group of people back in their country. They did the deal, but they didn't ask, and the UN didn't ask the opinion of the people who were in the region. That was the reckless move. But you see, the conversation was kind of starting to be very critical. Even the US, like everybody was like, yo, guys, you are starting to abuse here. And then now it's raining, and now they can sell their coats. Where